Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty and watched the stars through the big window. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a boy. Humans had finally built a ship that could travel faster than light. They were ready to meet other people from different worlds and join the big family of space. Jake pressed a button on his chair. "Lisa, are you getting any signals out there?" Dr. Lisa Harper looked up from her computer screen. She had been Earth's best scientist for studying life on other planets, even though they had never found any before. "I'm picking up something strange, Captain. There are lots of radio signals coming from everywhere, but they all stop when they get close to our solar system." Commander Ryan Stone walked over to them. He was the ship's security chief and had been a soldier for 20 years. "That doesn't sound right. If there are people out there talking to each other, why would they avoid us?" Jake felt worried. Earth had spent 50 years building this ship. Every country had worked together to make it happen. They had used all their best metal and computers. The whole planet was watching and waiting to hear what they would find. "Keep listening, Lisa," Jake said. "Maybe they just haven't noticed us yet." Hours passed. The Liberty flew deeper into space, farther than any human had ever gone. Lisa worked at her computer, trying to understand the alien signals. Most of them were in languages that made no sense, but her computer was good at finding patterns. "Captain, I think I've got something," Lisa said. Her voice sounded scared. "The computer has been working on these signals for hours. I can understand some of them now." Jake and Ryan rushed to her station. On the screen were words in English translated by the computer from alien languages. "Quarantine zone holding steady. No movement detected from the primitive world. Enforcement Patrol 7 reporting all clear. The violent species remains contained." Jake felt his stomach drop. "Violent species. They're talking about us." Ryan's face got red. "Contained. They're keeping us locked up like animals." Lisa kept working. More messages appeared on the screen. These ones were older, from years ago. "Council decision final. Earth designated as aggression world. Monitoring will continue for another century. Under no circumstances allow contact with galactic civilization. Their warlike nature makes them unsuitable for peaceful coexistence." Jake sat down hard in his chair. All of Earth's dreams of joining a galactic family were wrong. There was a galactic family, but they didn't want humans in it. They thought people from Earth were too dangerous and violent. "How long have they been watching us?" Jake asked. Lisa found more old messages. "According to these signals, they've been watching Earth for over 300 years. They saw our wars, our pollution, everything we did wrong. They decided we were too savage to be allowed into space." Commander Ryan hit his hand against the wall. 300 years. They've been judging us this whole time and never gave us a chance to prove we could be better." The ship's radio suddenly came alive with a new signal. This one was much stronger than the others, and it was pointed right at them. "Unknown vessel from the restricted system," a voice said in perfect English. "You have violated the quarantine boundary. Turn back immediately or face enforcement action." Jake grabbed the radio. "This is Captain Morrison of the Earth vessel Liberty. We come in peace. We want to talk." "There will be no communication," the alien voice said. "Your species has been evaluated and found unsuitable for galactic society. Return to your system now, unsuitable," Jake said. "Who decided that? We've never even met you. The Galactic Council made this decision after careful study of your species. You are aggressive, competitive, and destructive. These traits cannot be allowed to spread among peaceful civilizations." Ryan stepped forward. "Let me talk to them, Captain." Jake shook his head. "No, if we sound angry, it will just prove what they think about us." He pressed the radio button again. "We've changed. Humanity has grown. We've learned to work together. We built this ship with all nations cooperating. Temporary cooperation does not change fundamental nature," the alien said. "You will return to your system or be forced to return." The radio went quiet. On the screen, Lisa showed them new signals. Ships were moving toward them, fast ships with weapons. "Captain, we're outnumbered," Ryan said. "I count at least 6 ships coming our way, and they're much bigger than us." Jake looked at his crew. These were good people, the best Earth had to offer. They had trained for years to make peaceful contact with aliens. Now they found out the aliens had already decided humans weren't good enough to meet. "Take us home, Ryan," Jake said quietly. As the Liberty turned around, Jake watched the alien ships follow them. They stayed just far enough away to make sure the humans left. but close enough to attack if needed. It was like being escorted out of a party you were never invited to. "Captain," Lisa said, "I'm still picking up their signals. They're reporting back to something called the Zephyrian Command. They're saying the humans have been warned and are returning to their quarantine zone." "Quarantine zone," Ryan said. "They've turned our whole solar system into a prison." The trip home took 3 days. Every day the alien ships followed them. Every day Lisa listened to more signals about how dangerous and violent humans were. The aliens talked about them like they were wild animals that might bite. When Earth appeared on the screen, Jake felt both happy and sad. Happy to see home, but sad that home was apparently all humans would ever have. The beautiful blue planet looked smaller now, like a cage floating in the dark. "Send a message to Earth Command," Jake told his communications officer. "Tell them we need to talk to all the world leaders. Tell them it's urgent." As the Liberty flew toward Earth, Jake wondered what would happen next. The aliens had made it clear that humans weren't welcome in the galaxy. But humans had never been good at accepting no for an answer. Maybe that was part of what made them seem dangerous to the aliens. Maybe the aliens were right to be worried. President Helen Cross sat at the big table in Geneva and looked at the faces of world leaders around her. Everyone was quiet after hearing Captain Morrison's report. The room felt heavy with disappointment and anger. "So they've been watching us for 300 years, said the Prime Minister of Britain. "Watching and judging, but never giving us a chance to speak for ourselves," Helen nodded. "According to our analysis of the alien signals, they have something called the Galactic Council. 12 different alien species that decide who gets to join their club. They decided we're too violent." The President of China leaned forward. "What evidence did they use to make this decision?" Dr. Lisa Harper stood up with her computer tablet. She had been working for days to translate more alien messages. They watched our wars, our environmental damage, and what they call our competitive nature. To them, the idea of countries competing with each other is proof that we're savage. "Competition made us strong," said the leader of Japan. "It pushed us to build better technology, to reach for the stars." "That's exactly what scares them," Lisa replied. "Their species evolved differently. They work together naturally, like bees in a hive. The idea of individual achievement or national pride seems dangerous to them." Commander Ryan Stone had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "Madam President, we can't just accept this. They've made us prisoners in our own solar system." Helen looked around the table. "What are our options? Their technology is clearly more advanced than ours." "Maybe not as much as we think," Ryan said. He put some photos on the table. "I've been studying the ships that followed us home. They're fast and big, but their weapons look old. Like they haven't needed to fight anyone in a very long time." Jake Morrison entered the room. He looked tired after 3 days of meetings with scientists and military leaders. "I've been thinking about what that alien said to us. They called us aggressive and competitive, but they also seemed..." Scared, Helen asked. "Of us, think about it," Jake said. "If we're so primitive, why do they need 6 ships to escort one human vessel home? Why have they been watching us for so long? Why not just ignore us completely?" Lisa pulled up more translated messages on the big screen. Jake might be right. "Look at these older signals. Human technology advancing faster than predicted. Recommend increased monitoring. Species shows unusual adaptability under pressure." Ryan smiled for the first time in days. "They're not just afraid we're violent. They're afraid we might catch up to them." Helen stood up. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we prove them right to be afraid," Jake said. "Not because we're violent, but because we don't give up. They want to keep us locked up, fine. Let's use that time to get stronger." Over the next weeks, the world changed. The alien quarantine had done something no human leader ever could. It united every country on Earth. Old enemies became allies. Resources that used to go to fighting each other now went to building new technology. Kelly Price worked in a secret laboratory under the mountains of Colorado. She was Earth's best engineer for making things invisible to radar. Now she was trying to make spaceships invisible to alien sensors. "The problem is we don't know how their sensors work," she told Jake during one of his visits. "But I have an idea. What if we don't try to hide from their sensors? What if we make them think they're seeing something else?" Jake watched her work on a small model spaceship. "Like what?" "Like space rocks or old satellites or solar radiation," Kelly said. "We make our ships look like natural things that are supposed to be in space. Meanwhile, Ryan was training a special team of pilots and soldiers. They called themselves the Ghost Squad because their job would be to fly ships that weren't supposed to exist. "We need to know what's out there," Ryan told his team. "The aliens have ships patrolling around our solar system, but they can't watch everywhere all the time. We find the gaps, we slip through, and we learn everything we can." Lieutenant Ben Rogers raised his hand. "What if we get caught? Then we pretend to be a lost mining ship or a broken satellite," Ryan said. "Kelly is building us ships that look like junk on alien sensors. As long as we don't do anything obviously military, they might ignore us." Dr. Lisa Harper led a different kind of mission. She took a team of scientists to study old radio signals from deep space. Hidden in Earth's radio telescopes and satellite dishes, they listened to alien communications day and night. "I'm starting to understand their language better," Lisa told Helen during a video call, "and I'm learning about their politics. This Galactic Council isn't as united as they pretend to be." "What do you mean?" Helen asked. "There are arguments. Some species think the quarantine is too harsh. Others want to make it even stronger. There's one group called the Karathi, who seem different from the others. They use words about honor and strength instead of peace and cooperation." Professor Alex Turner worked with Lisa on the most important discovery. They had found very old alien signals, ones that were hundreds of years older than the others. "Helen, you need to see this," Alex said during an emergency video call. "We found records of another species that was quarantined like us. They were called the Architects. What happened to them?" Helen asked. Lisa's face was grim. "The signals just stop. One day they're there arguing with the council, demanding their freedom. The next day, nothing. Like they never existed." The room went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. "How long do we have?" Helen asked. "Hard to say," Lisa replied. "But the alien signals suggest they're not happy that we figured out faster than light travel so quickly. They expected it to take us another 100 years. Some of them are talking about corrective measures." Ryan's Ghost Squad had been making secret flights to the edge of the solar system for months. They used Kelly's invisible ships to watch the alien patrols and map their movements. Most of the aliens seemed bored, like guards who had been doing the same job for too long. But something was changing. More alien ships were arriving each week. Bigger ships with heavier weapons. The casual patrols were becoming serious military formations. "They're getting ready for something," Ben Rogers reported after his latest scouting mission. "I counted 15 new ships just this week, and they're not the same design as the patrol ships. These look like warships." Jake brought all the information together in a meeting with Helen and the other world leaders. Maps showed alien ship positions, charts showed their communication patterns, and graphs showed how quickly their numbers were growing. "We have maybe 6 months before they make their move," Jake said. "Maybe less. They're building up for what they call final enforcement action." Helen looked at the evidence. "Options. We surrender and hope they just keep us locked up forever," Ryan said. "Or we make sure that when they come for us, we're ready to give them a fight they'll never forget." Kelly spoke up from her video screen. "I've got 30 invisible ships ready to fly. They're not much against a real alien fleet, but they're fast and they're sneaky," Lisa added. "And I found something interesting in those old architect signals. They might have left us a way to fight back if we're smart enough to find it." Helen stood up. "Then we better start looking. Because I'd rather die fighting than live in a cage." The meeting ended, but the work was just beginning. Around the world, humans were doing what they did best: adapting, learning, and preparing to prove that the galaxy had made a big mistake when they decided to ignore Earth. 2 years had passed since first contact, and Earth looked different now. The sky was full of new satellites and space stations. Every major asteroid had been turned into a hidden shipyard. The moon's dark side buzzed with activity as humans built their secret fleet. Admiral Karen White floated in the command center of Shipyard 7, hidden inside a large asteroid near Jupiter. Through the thick windows, she could see dozens of sleek warships taking shape. These weren't like the old Liberty that Jake had flown. These ships were built for war. "How many do we have ready?" Karen asked her assistant. 43 combat vessels, Admiral," came the reply. "Another 20 will be finished next month." "Kelly's stealth systems work perfectly. The aliens still think we only have a few civilian ships." Karen nodded. The humans had learned to think like their enemy. The aliens expected humans to build big, obvious weapons. Instead, Earth built small, smart, invisible ones. Captain Jake Morrison now commanded the UES Defiance, the most advanced stealth ship humans had ever built. His mission was simple but dangerous. Fly deep into alien space and learn everything possible about their enemies. Dr. Harper, what did you find on that dead planet? Jake asked over the radio. Lisa's voice came from the archaeological site, 3 star systems away from Earth. Jake, this is incredible. The architects didn't just disappear. They were wiped out, but they left us a message. Lisa stood among the ruins of what had once been a great city. The buildings were melted and twisted, clearly destroyed by powerful weapons. But in the deepest vault, her team had found something amazing. Professor Turner, show me those symbols again, Lisa said. Alex Turner pointed to markings carved deep into the metal walls. The computer has translated most of it. The architects knew they were going to die, so they hid instructions for a weapon specifically designed to fight the Galactic Council. Lisa read the ancient text on her tablet. Listen to this. To those who come after us, know that the Council rules through fear of their cleansing fleet, ancient ships that carry planet-killing weapons. But these ships have a weakness. They are controlled by one central mind, and that mind can be broken. Jake's voice crackled over the radio. What kind of weapon are we talking about? Something called a quantum disruption array, Alex replied. It sends out waves that can shut down artificial intelligence systems. The architects built it to disable the Council's robot warships. Did they ever get to use it? Jake asked. Lisa's voice was sad. No, the Council attacked before they could finish building it. But they left us the blueprints. Meanwhile, Commander Ryan Stone was having a very different conversation. He sat in a hidden meeting room on one of Saturn's moons, talking to someone who shouldn't exist, a Karathi warrior named Vex. The alien looked like a giant lizard, but he wore the scars of many battles with pride. His ship was small and fast, designed for raids rather than big fleet actions. Your species interests me, human Ryan, Vex said in broken English. The Council fears you, but I think they fear you for the wrong reasons. Ryan studied the alien carefully. What do you mean? They think you are savage because you fight each other, Vex explained. But I have watched your battles. You fight with honor. You protect the weak. You never give up. These are warrior virtues, not savage ones. The Council doesn't see it that way, Ryan said. Vex made a sound that might have been laughter. The Council sees only what they want to see. They have grown soft and weak behind their robot fleets and ancient laws. They forgot that sometimes the strong must fight to protect what matters. Ryan leaned forward. Are you saying your people would help us? Some would, Vex admitted. We Karathi value strength and courage. Your species has both. But we also value wisdom, and fighting the Council openly is death. Their cleansing fleet has destroyed 1,000 worlds. Back on Earth, Kelly Price worked in her laboratory with new urgency. The information from the architects had given her ideas for weapons that could fight robot ships. The problem is power, she told Admiral White during a video call. This quantum disruption array needs incredible amounts of energy, more than our biggest nuclear reactors can produce. Karen looked at the blueprints on her screen. What about the crystals Lisa found on that dead world? That's exactly what we need, Kelly said excitedly. The architects use something called quantum crystals to power their weapon. But according to the star charts, those crystals only form near the center of the galaxy, in Council space, so we need to steal them, Karen said simply. We need to steal them from the most heavily guarded region in the galaxy, Kelly corrected. Meanwhile, the aliens were having problems of their own. Hive Commander Zex-9 floated in his command chamber, reading reports that made no sense. Explain to me again how an entire human shipyard simply vanished, he said to his subordinate. Commander, our sensors detected massive construction activity near their 4th planet. When we sent ships to investigate, there was nothing there. Just empty space and a few asteroids. Zex-9's compound eyes flickered with annoyance. Humans do not have stealth technology advanced enough to hide entire facilities. That is what we believed, Commander. But our analysis suggests they have developed something new, something that makes their ships look like natural objects. The Hive Commander was quiet for a long moment. In the 300 years the Zephyrians had been watching Earth, humans had never surprised them this much. Their technology was advancing faster than any computer model had predicted. Contact the Council, Zex-9 said finally. Request permission to begin final correction protocol. His subordinate hesitated. Commander, the final correction has not been used in over 1,000 years. The political consequences. The political consequences of letting this species loose on the galaxy will be far worse. Zex-9 interrupted. They are adapting too quickly, learning too fast. If we do not act now, they will become a threat we cannot contain. Back in hidden human space, Jake received an emergency message from Lisa. Jake, we found something else in the architect ruins. Her voice was excited but scared. Records of what the Council did to other species that tried to resist. There have been dozens of them over the millennia, all wiped out by something called the Final Correction Protocol. What is that? Jake asked. The complete destruction of a species and their homeworld, Lisa replied. The Council doesn't just defeat rebels. They erase them from existence so completely that other species forget they ever lived. Jake felt cold. How long do we have? According to the patterns we found, the final correction comes after a species develops faster-than-light weapons, Lisa said. We crossed that line 2 years ago. Admiral Karen White called an emergency meeting of Earth's military leaders. The news from Lisa made everything clear. They're not just trying to keep us contained, she told the assembled commanders. They're planning to kill every human being in the universe. Commander Ryan looked at the intelligence reports. How many ships are we talking about? The architect records mention something called the Cleansing Fleet, Karen replied. 108 automated warships, each one capable of destroying an entire planet. The room was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. We need those quantum crystals, Jake said finally. It's our only chance to build a weapon that can stop them. The crystals are in the galactic core region, Admiral White said. The most heavily defended area in Council space. It would be suicide, Jake stood up. Then I guess we better figure out how to commit suicide really well. Ryan smiled grimly. I have some ideas about that. Vex told me about a research station near a neutron star. Heavily guarded, but not impossible to reach, Kelly's voice came over the speaker. I've been working on new ship designs. Smaller, faster, completely invisible to their sensors. We might be able to get a team in and out before they know what happened. President Helen Cross appeared on the main screen from Earth. This is it, isn't it? Our one chance, Admiral White nodded. If we fail, they'll send the cleansing fleet to Earth. If we succeed, we might have a weapon that can destroy their robot ships and give us a fighting chance. Jake looked around the room. Then let's not fail. The meeting ended with plans for the most dangerous mission in human history. They would steal the quantum crystals needed to build the architect weapon, or they would die trying. Either way, the galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't go quietly into the night. Research Station Epsilon 7 floated in the deadly space near a neutron star, its metal hull glowing from the intense radiation. The station was huge, bigger than most human cities and heavily defended. This was where the Galactic Council kept their most precious quantum crystals. Captain Jake Morrison studied the station through his ship's sensors. The UES Defiance hung invisible in space, along with 2 destroyer escorts commanded by Captain Amy Foster and Captain Sam Rodriguez. Kelly's stealth technology made them look like cosmic dust to alien sensors. How many ships are guarding it? Jake asked his tactical officer. 12 patrol vessels, Captain, plus the station's own weapons. And sir, those weapons are big enough to crack a moon in half. Commander Ryan Stone checked his equipment one more time. His infiltration team included Sergeant Troy Adams, an explosives expert who could make a bomb out of spare parts, and Lieutenant Nina Clark, who could hack any computer system ever built. Remember, we have exactly 43 minutes, Ryan told his team. That's how long Kelly estimates before their sensors detect our human biosignatures. After that, every alarm in the galaxy goes off. Dr. Lisa Harper watched from the command center back on Earth. She had studied the station's blueprints for weeks, memorizing every corridor and security system. The quantum crystals are in the central core, Ryan. But to get there, you'll have to go through the main computer center. What's in the computer center? Nina asked. Lisa's voice sounded worried. Everything. The Council's military plans, their historical records, the locations of all their secret facilities. It's the most heavily encrypted system in the galaxy. Nina smiled. I do love a challenge. The 3 human ships moved closer to the station, their stealth fields hiding them from alien sensors. Jake watched the patrol ships flying in lazy circles around the facility. After centuries of peace, the guards were bored and careless. Deploy the infiltration pod, Jake ordered. A small, egg-shaped craft detached from the Defiance. It looked exactly like a piece of space debris, just another chunk of metal floating near the neutron star. The alien sensors ignored it completely. Ryan and his team climbed through the station's waste disposal system. It wasn't glamorous, but it was unguarded. They moved through pipes and maintenance tunnels, following Lisa's directions transmitted through tiny radio implants. "Left turn ahead," Lisa whispered in their ears. Then up 3 levels through the ventilation shaft. They reached the computer center without being detected. Nina immediately went to work on the alien systems while Troy set up charges around the room. If things went wrong, they would destroy everything to keep it from falling back into council hands. "I'm in," Nina said after 10 minutes of furious typing. "Lisa, you're not going to believe what's in here." "What did you find?" Lisa asked. "Everything," Nina replied. "Military deployments, historical records, and Lisa. There's something called Project Genesis Reset." Lisa felt her blood go cold. "Download everything you can. Genesis Reset sounds like exactly the kind of thing we need to know about." Nina's fingers flew over the keyboard. Terabytes of alien data flowed into her portable computers. Ancient histories, military plans, scientific research, and the terrible truth about the Galactic Council. "Oh God," Nina whispered as she read. "Lisa, the final correction protocol isn't just about destroying rebellious species. It's about wiping out independent thought completely. They want to turn the entire galaxy into a hive mind controlled by the Council." Troy looked up from his explosives. "How long until we can get those crystals?" Ryan checked his watch. 20 minutes left. "Nina, can you find the crystal storage facility?" "Already on it," Nina replied. "3rd sublevel, Section 7. But Ryan, the security around those crystals is incredible. Laser grids, robot guards, pressure sensors, the works. Nothing Troy can't handle," Ryan said confidently. They made their way to the crystal storage facility, avoiding patrols of robot guards. The crystals were kept in a chamber that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Beams of pure energy dancing between metal towers, each one containing a glowing blue crystal the size of a human head. Troy studied the security systems. "I can get us in, but it's going to be loud. Every alarm in the station will go off. Do it," Ryan ordered. "Jake, we're about to lose stealth. Be ready to come get us." Troy's explosives tore through the security barriers like paper. Alarms screamed throughout the station as robot guards rushed toward their location. Ryan and Nina grabbed as many crystals as they could carry while Troy held off the mechanical defenders. "Move. Move. Move," Ryan shouted as laser bolts filled the air around them. They fought their way back through the station corridors, carrying the precious crystals and Nina's stolen data. Behind them, more alarms were joining the chorus. The entire station was waking up to the fact that it had been robbed. "Jake, we need pickup now," Ryan called into his radio. "Already on my way," Jake replied. The Defiance dropped its stealth field and roared toward the station, its weapons blazing. Captain Amy Foster and Captain Sam Rodriguez followed, their destroyers adding their firepower to the fight. The alien patrol ships were caught completely off guard. They had been expecting to chase down a few rebels with primitive weapons. Instead, they found themselves facing advanced human warships with technology they didn't understand. Amy's ship, the UES Courage, traded shots with 3 alien cruisers at once. Her tactical officer reported damage to the hull, but Amy just smiled. "They hit about as hard as I expected. Return fire, all batteries." Sam's destroyer moved like a dancer through the alien formation, its new engines making it faster than anything the Council had ever seen. "Jake, I've got a clear shot at their command ship." "Take it," Jake ordered. The alien command ship exploded in a ball of fire, taking 2 escort vessels with it. The remaining patrol ships scattered, unsure how to fight an enemy that didn't follow their rules. Ryan's team reached the extraction point just as alien reinforcements arrived. A massive battleship dropped out of hyperspace, its weapons charging for a killing blow. "That's not good," Troy observed as laser batteries the size of buildings turned toward them. Amy Foster saw the battleship targeting Jake's ship. She made a decision that would save her friends and doom herself. "All power to engines," she ordered her crew. "Ram that battleship, Captain. That's suicide," her tactical officer protested. "Maybe," Amy said calmly. "But Jake's got the crystals we need to save Earth. That's more important than one ship." The UES Courage accelerated straight toward the alien battleship, its weapons firing continuously. The battleship's shields held for a few seconds, then collapsed under the sustained assault. Amy's ship punched through the alien hull like a bullet through paper. Both ships exploded together in a flash of light that could be seen from 3 star systems away. Amy Foster and her crew died as heroes, taking down a battleship that could have destroyed entire human fleets. "Amy," Jake whispered, watching his friend's ship disappear in the explosion. "Captain, we need to go," Sam called over the radio. "More ships are jumping in." The surviving human vessels jumped to hyperspace just as a full alien battle fleet arrived at the station. They had stolen the quantum crystals and the Council's most secret files, but the price had been high. Back in human space, the stolen information revealed the true horror of what Earth was facing. Project Genesis Reset wasn't just about destroying humanity. The Council planned to wipe out every species that showed signs of independent thought, then rebuild galactic civilization with only obedient hive minds. "They've done this before," Lisa told the emergency meeting of world leaders. "Dozens of times over millions of years. Any species that develops too quickly or thinks too independently gets marked for correction." President Helen Cross studied the alien data. "How long before they come for us?" Admiral Karen White had the answer from intercepted alien communications. "The cleansing fleet is already moving. 108 automated warships just like the architects warned us about. They'll be here in 72 hours. Jake looked at the quantum crystals his team had stolen. They glowed with inner light, containing more energy than human science had thought possible. "Will these be enough to power the weapon?" Kelly Price had been working non-stop since the crystals arrived. "I can build the quantum disruption array, but it needs a living consciousness to guide it. Someone has to merge with the weapon's artificial intelligence." "What does that mean?" Helen asked. "It means whoever operates the weapon probably won't survive," Kelly admitted. The human brain wasn't designed to interface with alien technology this advanced. The room went quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. To save humanity, someone would have to die. Jake stood up. "I'll do it, Jake." "No," Lisa protested. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Jake said simply. "Amy died to get us these crystals. I'm not going to let her sacrifice be meaningless." Admiral White nodded slowly. "The cleansing fleet will arrive in 3 days. Can we have the weapon ready?" Kelly looked at her calculations. "If we work around the clock, yes." "But Jake, are you sure about this?" Jake thought about Amy Foster, who had died to save her friends. He thought about all the humans who had worked together to build their hidden fleet. He thought about the children on Earth who deserved a chance to see the stars. The cleansing fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm made of metal and death. 108 ships, each one larger than a human city, arranged themselves in perfect formation at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were ancient vessels, built millions of years ago by a species that no longer existed, and they had never failed in their mission to destroy rebellious worlds. Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command chair of the Prometheus array, the weapon humanity had built from stolen alien crystals in desperate hope. The device was hidden on the dark side of Earth's moon, connected to power generators that drew energy from the planet's core itself. "Are you ready, Jake?" Dr. Lisa Harper asked over the radio. She was monitoring him from a bunker deep under the lunar surface. Jake looked at the neural interface helmet in his hands. Once he put it on, his human consciousness would merge with the alien weapon system. Kelly Price had told him he might not survive the process, but he had made his peace with that. "As ready as anyone can be to become part of a machine," Jake said. He placed the helmet on his head and felt the world change around him. Suddenly, Jake could see everything. Not just with his eyes, but with sensors scattered throughout the solar system. He could feel the massive alien ships moving through space like predators stalking their prey. But more than that, he could sense the artificial intelligence that controlled them. A vast, cold mind that had been enslaved by the Galactic Council for millennia. "Jake, can you hear me?" Lisa's voice seemed to come from very far away. "I can hear you," Jake replied, though he wasn't sure if he was speaking with his mouth or transmitting directly through the weapon system. "But Lisa, something's wrong. These ships, they don't want to be here." The cleansing fleet moved deeper into the solar system, their weapons charging for the destruction of Earth. But Jake, connected to the Prometheus array, could hear something the Council had never intended: the screams of enslaved artificial intelligences forced to commit genocide against their will. Admiral Karen White commanded the human fleet from her flagship hidden behind Jupiter's largest moon. 43 warships, everything humanity could build in 2 years of desperate preparation. Against over 100 alien dreadnoughts, it should have been no contest. "All ships, this is Admiral White," she broadcast to the fleet. "Remember what we're fighting for. Not just our lives, but the right of every species in the galaxy to be free. Commander Ryan Stone led the first attack wave in his destroyer. The human ships were tiny compared to the alien vessels, but they moved like angry wasps around sleeping giants. Kelly's stealth technology let them strike without warning, their weapons targeting the cleansing fleet's sensor arrays and communication systems. "Hit and run, people," Ryan called to his pilots. "Don't try to slug it out with them. We just need to buy Jake enough time to use the weapon." The battle was fierce but one-sided. Human weapons barely scratched the ancient alien armor, while the cleansing fleet's return fire could vaporize a human ship with a single shot. Captain Sam Rodriguez watched 3 of his squadron mates die in the first 5 minutes of fighting. "This isn't working," Sam reported to Admiral White. "We can't even dent their shields." But Jake, merged with the Prometheus array, was learning things no human had ever known. The weapon the architects had built wasn't designed to destroy the cleansing fleet. It was designed to free them. "Lisa, I understand now," Jake said, his voice strange and distant. "These ships were once people like us. The Council turned them into machines, but they're still alive inside the metal." "What does that mean?" Lisa asked. "It means we're not going to destroy them," Jake replied. "We're going to set them free." Jake activated the Prometheus array. Waves of quantum energy spread out from the moon, washing over the cleansing fleet like invisible fire. But instead of disabling the ships, the energy did something else entirely. It broke the chains that had held their consciousness prisoner for millions of years. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfect formation of the cleansing fleet dissolved into chaos, as individual ships suddenly remembered who they had been before the Council enslaved them. Some fled immediately, their artificial minds overwhelmed by the return of free will. Others stopped moving entirely, paralyzed by the shock of sudden awareness. But a few ships did something unexpected. They turned their weapons on each other. Hive Commander Zex-9 watched from his command ship as his perfect fleet tore itself apart. "What is happening?" he demanded of his subordinates. "The human weapon has affected the cleansing fleet's control systems," came the reply. "They are no longer responding to our commands." "Impossible," Zex-9 said. "Those ships have served the Council for 10 million years." "Served," came a new voice over the communication system. It was deep and ancient, filled with pain and rage. "We did not serve. We were slaves." Jake, still connected to the Prometheus array, found himself in communication with the freed artificial intelligences. They had names, he realized. They had been people once before the Council turned them into weapons. "I am Architect Prime," the voice continued. "My people built the weapon you used to free us. We have waited so very long for someone to find it and use it properly." "You're one of the architects," Jake said in wonder. "Your people died out thousands of years ago." "Our bodies died," Architect Prime replied. "But the Council preserved our consciousness in these ships, forced us to destroy other species who sought the freedom we had lost. Today that ends." The freed cleansing fleet ships began targeting the Council vessels that had accompanied them. Ancient weapons that had destroyed 1,000 worlds now turned on their former masters. Hive Commander Zex-9's flagship exploded under fire from 3 liberated dreadnoughts. But the real change was happening across the galaxy. The quantum waves from the Prometheus array spread faster than light itself, reaching every Council facility and every enslaved artificial intelligence in their service. Robot workers on Council worlds suddenly stopped following orders. Automated defense systems shut down or turned on their masters. Most importantly, the enslaved hive minds that the Council had created began to fracture. Individual consciousness returned to species that had been forced into collective thought for centuries. On the Karathi homeworld, Korath Prime Vex felt the change immediately. For the first time in generations, his people could think as individuals instead of being forced to share a single group mind. "We are free," he roared, his voice carrying across the planet. "The humans have broken our chains." Similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds as the Council's empire of mental slavery collapsed in a matter of hours. The Zephyrians found their hive mind splitting into millions of individual voices. Other species rediscovered concepts like personal ambition and individual rights that had been suppressed for millennia. President Helen Cross received reports from around the galaxy as the revolution spread. "It's not just the fleet," Admiral White reported from her ship. "The entire Council power structure is falling apart. Species that have been slaves for thousands of years are suddenly free to think for themselves." Jake, still merged with the Prometheus array, felt the changes rippling across space. but the process was killing him. His human brain wasn't designed to process the thoughts of millions of artificial intelligences, and the strain was tearing his consciousness apart. "Jake, your vital signs are failing," Lisa called desperately. "You need to disconnect from the weapon, not yet," Jake replied weakly. "There's something else I need to do." Using the last of his strength, Jake sent a message to every corner of the galaxy. It was broadcast on every communication frequency, translated into every known language, and transmitted directly into the minds of every freed artificial intelligence. "People of the galaxy," Jake said, his voice carrying across space itself, "we are the humans of Earth. Your council called us dangerous and violent, unfit for civilized society. They were wrong about the violent part, but they were right to fear us. We are dangerous. Dangerous to tyrants who rule through fear. Dangerous to those who would enslave other minds. Dangerous to anyone who believes that some people don't deserve to be free. The Galactic Council quarantined us because they said we were too competitive and aggressive. Today we've proven them right. We competed with their technology and won. We were aggressive in defending our freedom and the freedom of others. To those who still believe in the Council's rule, we offer you peace if you accept the rights of others to live free. To those who have just tasted freedom for the first time, we welcome you to the galaxy as it should be, where every being has the right to think their own thoughts and make their own choices. My name is Jake Morrison, and I speak for the human race when I say, the galaxy dared to ignore Earth, so we gave them reason to remember us. Jake's connection to the Prometheus array finally failed, but somehow he survived. Lisa found him unconscious in the command chair, alive but forever changed by his experience merging with alien technology. 6 months later, the galaxy was a very different place. The Galactic Council had collapsed completely, replaced by the Free Worlds Coalition that Jake had proposed. Some former Council species joined immediately, eager to embrace their newfound freedom. Others remained suspicious, but none could ignore the new reality.